Hi, this is Kelly Wright with The Money Show, and I'm here with Jack Ablin with Crescent Wealth Advisors. Probably the best chief investment officer on the street.
I agree. I agree. I think I am.
Hey, you know what? We kind of had a glide path going there for a lot of years, and then something happened in January to investor psyche. Something changed.
Yeah, and you know, Kelly, I really love focusing on the macro because if you really understand where these tectonic plates are going, whether it's political policy, geopolitics, or just markets, you have a better sense of how to position a portfolio. And I do think a couple of things have happened. One is, you know, we're in the 9th year of an economic expansion. We've got unemployment rate now below 4%.
True beans.
We've now thrown fuel on this fire. Not only do we have strong monetary policy going into 2018, but we now threw a fiscal stimulus program equaling 5% of GDP on top of that. So I think investors started to think, you know what, I wonder if we're starting to push the limit of this expansion and that could this now be the end of the business cycle? And I think that's probably what changed investor psyche going into the first quarter.
So, say in the middle of last year, no one would have dared said, you know, maybe I need to take something off the table.
No, because, well, part of it is I don't think the chance of getting sweeping tax reform was even in the cards.
Sure,
I mean, that kind of played out as we got in, you know, closer to the fourth quarter. Even there, I was pretty skeptical that we could get so, you know, even because remember that even the Republicans weren't on board with this thing.
I know.
And so we finally got it. I think that's part of it. I think the other part of it is we're starting to see a recovery in Europe. And why that's important is because the European Central Bank is really that entity is really controlling what the 10-year Treasury does. Largely because the German Bund, the 10-year German Bund, you know, at last print that I've seen was at 0.5%, 60 basis points.
I was going to say 55, 60 bips, yeah.
And so how can you get a 10-year Treasury to go from 2.90 to 4% when you've got a German Bund sitting there at 0.6?
Right.
And the reason why the German Bund's at 0.6 is because that quantitative easing that the Fed had been doing all along, they're still doing it.
Okay.
And so I think part of what's going on is now it appears that the European recovery is continuing forward. Maybe a little bit disappointing, but still I think the European Central Bank wants to get out of the quantitative easing business. So they've already put a stake in the ground and said by the fourth quarter, we're out. Which means that the German Bund is going to go from 0.6 to say 1 point something.
Wow.
And the 10-year Treasury will continue to push back to what we think fair value is. And unfortunately, Kelly, that's 4%, not 3.08 or whatever that number is right now.
I think it was it Louise Yamada? I think like a year ago, I saw a chart she produced that said last 200 years, the average yield of the 10-year was 5%.
Yeah, first of all, Louise Yamada is a very bright woman, Vassar grad, and technical wizard. So whatever Louise says, I'm going to go along with that.
I gotcha. This was fun. I could do this all day long with you.
Thanks, Kelly. I appreciate it.
Kelly Wright with The Money Show with Jack Ablin. Thanks for joining us.